Hey, what's happening, y'all? Matt here. It's been a while. I think years since I posted anything to this channel. So that's hey, I'm back. Just there's some things going on that I felt like I needed to come in and address, and I kind of wanted to talk about kind of what happened to that led to this channel becoming neglected. As well as what I'm planning on doing going forward, where Matt Hellion is as an artist, and all that stuff. You know, state of the artist address going on here. So I guess just to kind of tease a little bit, I am working on a new album. I have been working on a new album. I've actually got about half the songs recorded for two more albums. They're just not ready to come out yet, and I know that, I'm already hearing the comments in my head about, well, we live in a singles world, dude. Start dropping singles. There's a reason. I'll dive into that. But let's turn back the clock a little bit and kind of talk about what got us here. So when I released Tunnels, and a lot has happened since Tunnels release. Life has been crazy. My wife and I have moved a couple times. We've had a kid. We just bought this house, which is how I managed to actually have a studio room again. It's been nuts. So there's all that. And, I released the lyric videos on this channel to support the release of my first album, Tunnels. And then I did start shooting music videos, but I also had another channel Audio Mutt Studios, which I've been using as a brand for my freelance work. And it made sense at the time where I didn't feel like I had time to create regular scheduled content for two channels to kind of consolidate over into one. So as I shot the music videos, I just used it as more content for my Audio Mutt channel instead of putting it on the Matt Hellion channel. So there's a lot of content over at Audio Mutt Studios. If you're not following me over there, feel free. I do completely different things over there, and we'll talk about that distinction. So that's why I didn't post the music videos and things over here on Matt Hellion. It was purely from a content quantity perspective. Now, as things have progressed, as life has changed, I've come to realize that trying to meet that regularly scheduled content idea that the big YouTubers have isn't going to work for me and what I'm doing as a artist slash freelancer slash dad slash husband slash employee, right? I've got a day job, which I do have a new day job. I'm no longer at school district. I'm now working as a guitar quality control tech. So I'm even shifting my day job to be more music centric. So all this is happening. I've got all these hats to juggle, and just trying to get out weekly content. It just hasn't been happening. Even bi-weekly hasn't been happening over on the Audio Mutt channel, which means that it's actually an interesting opportunity because now I can look at that and rethink and reorganize. So one of the things that's going to happen is I am going to take the original music videos from Audio Mutt Studios and migrate them over to the Matt Hellion channel, where I feel like they actually belong. I don't know if I can do that with my cover songs, just because the Audio Mutt channel is registered with We Are the Hits, that does the in the background profit sharing stuff after they claim the video. In the case anything there actually gets monetized, that the rights holders of the original song get their royalty, basically. And I've already got that all set up. I could potentially create a new account through Matt Hellion and attach it to the Matt Hellion YouTube channel so that I could put future cover videos out on this channel. I don't know how well that would work, if it would even be worth the effort. So that's kind of up in the air. But all my original music videos from Tunnels, excuse me, I've already made private on Audio Mutt Studios. I'm going to be, either going back into my archives or downloading from YouTube and moving all those over to the Matt Hellion channel. I'm not going to update anything like the ending of the video where I'm thanking people for watching. I'm not going to update any of that, but I will go through the video descriptions and adjust any links to like the websites and merch stores, stuff like that, because originally that was the Matt Hellion videos, even though they're on Audio Mutt Studios, were pointing to the Matt Hellion website and the Matt Hellion merch store, which have since been, the Matt Hellion merch store still exists, but the merch itself, like I've put the designs on the Audio Mutt merch store, and the Audio Mutt website now has a page for Matt Hellion music on it, so that I'm not also maintaining two completely different websites and paying for the web hosting and stuff for two different websites and all that stuff. So I consolidated a lot that wasn't really brought into the picture until after all those videos were shot. So that it's a weird thing where it's like part of that is being consolidated even more, and then like the content part of it is being not consolidated, it's being separated. A little weird, but I think it's for the best, and it's going to allow me to do some stuff that's been in the back of my head, that's been kind of bugging me, and it's part of what I want to talk about in this video, and what I am, I guess, forewarning my viewership of. So in addition to music, I plan on doing some more talking head videos like this. Not a lot, but enough to make some points and address some things. One of the things that it's kind of hard to talk about, but if you bought a copy of Tunnel's physical CD, there was a dedication page in the booklet, and in that dedication page you can see that during the writing and production of that album, I lost a lot of people. And I've talked about this on the Audio Mutt channel, not so much over here on Matt Hellion. But we lost my mom. We lost my grandma's. We've lost one of my uncles. We lost both the aunts I had on my dad's side. I've lost two cousins on my mom's side. And just here recently, I lost another uncle on my mom's side. And we also recently lost my wife's dad. So we've been in a season for almost 10 years now of losing family, just losing people that we care about. And something like that causes you to think and reevaluate some things. And especially now that I've got a kid in the picture. So one of the things, my dad has remarried, and his wife is awesome. We love her. I'm glad that he has her in his life and that we have her in ours. Like, it's a good thing. That doesn't mean I'm not sad that my kid will never know my mom. And aside from a few pictures here and there and what we tell him about her, he's never going to have a concept of who his biological grandma was. And same thing with my wife's dad. He did at least get the chance to meet and hold my son. But my son is still like a toddler. He's not going to remember. And it's weird to think about that. That yeah, he's got wonderful grandparents in his life. You know, he's got my dad, he's got my stepmom, he's got my wife's mom. They're awesome people, and he is incredibly blessed to have them in his life. But it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt to realize that he's never even going to have a concept of who these other important people in our lives were. And that got me thinking about my legacy, what I'm leaving for my kid. Aside from, a lot of times we think about, financial aspects of that or items that we're leaving behind. But more important than that to me is how will, if I get hit by a bus tomorrow, or I have a heart attack or a stroke or something happens, how does my kid know his dad? And when you've faced as much loss as we have, you really start to realize we only have today. That we are not guaranteed tomorrow, that you have to treat everyone with love and kindness and respect and honesty and integrity, because that's who you want to be. And if that's not who you are today, you might not have a chance to be who you want to be tomorrow. It has fundamentally shaped the way that I view the universe. And part of how Patrick will know me is through what my wife tells him, or hopefully what he sees firsthand as I watch him grow up. Part of it will be my music, because my music it's a snapshot of who I am, what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling at the time that I write it. And through my music, I will, in a sense, live way beyond my eventual demise. Even if I never make a dime, if nothing ever becomes a hit, if my music never amounts to anything in the music industry, it will mean something to me and mine. And therefore it's worth doing. So that's one way. But that being said, especially in the society in which we live today, there are very important topics that cannot be adequately explored in a 2 to 5 minute song. And especially because songs are meant to be somewhat poetic, right? They're not meant to spell things out as directly as some things need to be spelled out. So that is kind of explaining and setting up why I'm doing this video and why I'm going to do some more talking head videos going forward. Is especially with my new album I'm working on, I'm towing a rather thin line in talking about some things that I maybe normally wouldn't. I've got some songs talking about the heated political nature of our world today. I've got at least one song that I'm working on right now that is discussing religion, and where I do think these songs will stand on their own. And I think that it's, how do I say this? That it's important to allow a certain degree of audience participation in the interpretation of a song. A listener brings their own meaning to any given song. A listener can intuit and interpret things in a song that maybe the artist didn't intend. And that, in a sense, makes it even more meaningful, not less. And I think that's an important part of music and the musical experience. And so I don't want to take away from that by like spelling out exactly what I mean with each song. I think that it's important to preserve that aspect of the artist listener experience. That being said, there are certain aspects of these songs that I believe necessitate a little clarification about my position as a person and my position as an artist. Because it's really three different entities that are happening at that point, right? You've got me as a person expressing myself. You've got Matt Hellion as an artist displaying that interpretation. And then you've got the listener reinterpreting. It's a bit of a complicated set of events that happens with an artistic medium like music. And I talk in my music about real things. If you've listened to what I've released thus far in Tunnels, you've heard that I talk about some real shit. Tunnels has songs about suicide and being the survivor left behind. It has songs talking about toxic relationships and domestic abuse. It has songs talking about negative emotions and dark thoughts. It has songs talking about addiction. I try really hard not to shy away from things that I feel are real because they're uncomfortable, if that makes any sense. But I try and do so in a way that has integrity, that I'm being honest, I'm not trying to represent things in just a shock value, but where I'm actually trying to analyze and dissect and dive into and figure out and express things that are real in our world that I think too often get glossed over because they're not fun. And music can be and should be fun at times. But there's also a role for music to say something deeper. And I like to participate in both of those, right? It's one of the reasons I do cover songs, is it's just fun. One of the albums I'm working on, so I've got enough material written and recorded for half of 2 albums. So got my next album is called Lights. I've got half of that recorded. My next album after that is called Shits and Giggles, and I've got about half of that done. They are 2 very different projects. And Shits and Giggles is specifically just to have fun. It's fun music. It's goofy music. Some of it is nonsensical. But that's also an important part of the musical experience to connect to. And I think both need to exist. And so I'm going to be touching on some things like I touched on in Tunnels. And not only do I want my kid and my audience to be able to connect with the meanings of those songs, I also want to talk about my stance on some of these things as a person and my stance on some of these things as an artist, because a lot of times those are very different. And it's an important distinction to make. So I'm really just kind of talking at a camera at this point. But that's a big part of why I'm doing this video and why I'm going to do more videos like this in the coming weeks, is to touch on that, especially prior to Lights coming out. So I am still in the process of working on Lights. And, I know part of you all, like I said, I can already hear some of the comments in my head of, we live in a singles environment, dude. Why are you recording an album? Just release singles, right? You'll get more views, you'll get more subscribers, you'll get more monetary gain if you'll just release your singles. Just release music as you make it. And I get it. You're absolutely right. That is the musical economy we're living in. However, when I released Tunnels, I really released it as half of a two-part story. So if you listen to Tunnels, the course of the album is meant to be a travel through a tunnel. So we start with Let It Begin, which is incredibly dark, talking about all these negative emotions and the attachment that we have to dark imagery, and lots of stuff packed in there. And most of the album is very dark. It deals with dark concepts until we get towards the end of the album. With Testimony, I flip everything on its head. Now, some people have heard Testimony and have asked me if this is Christian music. And it's not. That doesn't mean it can't be. And here's what I mean with that, especially with Testimony. It's a song about finding meaning, right? So when I talk about the voices calling me, the fire in my heart that won't subside, the song it's supposed to be a song about hope and finding meaning in the darkness, right? And trying to strive to make the world a better place and to find a reason to go on day after day. That's the point of the song. Now, for some, that is religion. For others, it's something completely different. And we all have to find that meaning. We have to find that thing that gives us hope, that encourages us to get through another day, to have purpose. Human beings are built to have purpose. If we don't have purpose, we stagnate. And so the course of the Tunnels album is a journey through that tunnel, through the darkness, into light and hope. My next album, Lights, is the light at the end of the tunnel. Tonally, a little bit lighter than Tunnels, a little bit less aggressive, a little bit more melodic, but still heavy. And it's meant to be the other half of that coin, right? Where, okay, we have hope, we have purpose, we have meaning. Now what do we do with it, right? And so that's where the next album's coming from. And that's what I'm working on. And because these things are overall concepts and two parts of the same story, I have not felt that it was right to betray that vision by releasing singles in this particular case. It's meant to be one story. And that's how I'm going to keep it. That's how I'm going to release it. It may not be monetarily the best choice. But when I think about the artistic integrity of my vision, that's what needs to happen. So that's what we're gonna do, and that's why I'm not releasing a bunch of singles or anything leading up to it. I'm in here on the days when I can because life's crazy. I'm juggling making videos. I'm juggling working on the new house. I'm juggling working my day job and being a husband and a father, and trying to record the next two albums and get those done as I can, as I'm inspired. So all that is happening. So it's still going to be a while, which gives me time to have some of these discussions. And yeah, that's where we're going. Is I'm going to migrate all of the videos for Tunnels, the music videos, over to this channel. I'm going to periodically shoot some of these talking head videos, just talking about these issues and expressing myself as a individual and as an artist. And in the meantime, I'm going to be working on the next couple albums, getting those ready. And yeah, just instead of holding myself to some standard about having a certain amount of content out at a certain time, or organizing things in a certain way, or any of that stuff, I'm just going to create. We're doing okay. We've got our house, we've got our day jobs, and I need to not put the pressure on myself to try and make this financially viable, and instead just create art, because that's in actuality what I care about. I care about making art. I care about expressing myself and my thoughts. And, some of these thoughts that I have, you will come to find can be a little complex. I personally believe that a lot of the issues that we're facing are because we try to simplify things too much that are very nuanced issues, and draw hard lines where we need to be building bridges and trying to arrive at mutual understanding. And I don't think we see enough of that. And so a lot of my music and what I talk about is going to be leaning heavily into that. It's one of those things where my stance is typically the one that pisses everybody off. And I'll get into some of that in future videos. It's not really important right now, but it's a thing. And so some of you might find these thoughts fascinating. Some of you might find them very aggravating. That's okay. My rule is just going to be respectful. Be kind, man. One of the best pieces of life advice I've ever gotten was from Metalocalypse. And I think it was the first episode where the chef got like obliterated in spinning helicopter rotors, and they had like put together the doctor or whatever put together all of his pieces and had him on life support, even though there's like no jaw. Sorry, it was gory and horrific and extra hilarious because it was animated. But then the guy started, poking at him and saying, "Come on, man, make us a sandwich. We need a sandwich." And I think it was Murderface who says, "Yeah, don't be a dick, be a dude." And that phrase stuck with me. And for so much of life now, I just think to myself, don't be a dick, be a dude. And yeah, that's kind of neither here nor there. I'm kind of rambling at this point because I've already filmed this once and the audio was crap, and I had to come back and film it again. And I completely lost it because I am freewheeling this entire thing. But these are important things. We live in a crazy world, and I hope by creating music, creating art, and by trying to do my best to express myself in a coherent manner, that maybe one day down the line, if not somebody out in the world, then at least my kiddo will glean just the tiniest bit of wisdom out of my inane ramblings. But that's, I'll call it there for this video. Hang around for a little bit and I will put a little sneak peek, a little teaser of lights and what's coming down the pipe. And then I will see you in the next one. But as always, and I will also say, I know I only have like 12 subscribers on here, but if you haven't subscribed to Audio Mutt, go follow over there too. They're going to do completely different things. So this is going to be music and personal opinion and artistry. Over there was going to be like gear review, guitar demos, tutorials on how I produce music, just all sorts of completely different types of content. And I'm going to do better at making a clear delineation of content type there so that I'm thinking more about my audience and less about my whatever content creation quota I made up in my head. Because I was stupid. And we all have stupid moments. But anyway, up next, sneak peek of lights. And thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you dearly. You're awesome. And have a good one.
Myself again. And divided we shall fall, but united we shall stand. This world will stand together.